What's good, everybody? It's your boy D Nice with I2G Hip Hop, back at it with another review. Urge everyone to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We're at I2G Hip Hop. That's the letter I, the number 2, the letter G, hip hop, all one word. You can also check out this in the review section of our website, www.illuminati2g.com. That's the word Illuminati, the number 2, the letter G.com. So let's get right into it. We are reviewing Man Up, the 12th solo album of the legendary West Coast warlord Ice Cube. This album kind of came out of nowhere. It was before hip hop dropped last week, actually on Friday of last week, and the album came out today, September 12th. So definitely a surprise to a lot of people. The album is also released in conjunction with his headlining tour, Truth to Power, 4 Decades of Attitude, which is actually, that tour is going on right now. But Cube has been touring pretty much steadily almost for the last, at least nearing 10 years, even back when Laugh Now, Cry Later was out, and that was almost 20 years ago. He's been pretty consistent as far as touring, but let's get right into it. So the intro song, Manpower, produced by EA Ski, really dope beat. Cube kind of laid down the subject matter with Man Down, which dropped in November of last year, I believe. It was October or November. But Man Up is kind of answering to Man Down. You know, he felt masculinity and a lot of things about qualities about being a man were under attack or almost completely, shot down in the streets, like the actual album cover that he had, where he had the kid walking down the street and it looked like there was a homicide there in the middle of the street. Man Up has the the little midgets that are holding down little people, excuse me, they're holding down Ice Cube, and he's trying to break out of these ropes, and that's kind of the answer to Man Down. But great beat by EA Ski. I would love to see a whole album produced by EA Ski and Ice Cube. Fingers crossed, but they have a tremendous chemistry musically, and it was dope to see them once again together. But what you're gonna do about it? Dope beat by Decades. Cube talks about inaction and performative outrage, challenging listeners to do something about the social injustices and different things that are going on in America. It's kind of cool now to just kind of talk about it, get likes, get views, but no one is really doing any preventative measures to fix the things that they're complaining about. But a really dope track by Cube as well, Freedom, and not Freedom like D-O-M, Freedom, D-U-M-B. Also produced by Decades, talking about, the impact of social media, just technology, AI, everything out there, how it is really dumbing down people's mind state. There's so many different shortcuts and ways, for people to, kind of follow like sheep, these trends that are going on in society. But, Cube kind of briefly talks about that. This album reminded me a lot, kind of the pace and the flow of it, of 50 Cent's Before I Self-Destruct. He has no tracks over like 3.5, 4 minutes on here. So it's just, he raps his verse, hook, verse, end of the song. So it's very quick hitting. You go from track to track, but it's very cohesive. I like the cohesiveness of the album. Guess What, Prozac, and Cube also on this. Dope. Forget Me If You Ain't With Me, another dope track by Ice Cube, Sean Ski and Big Von. And then the single Before Hip Hop that's currently out now, also with the video I've said in a forum as well that this reminds me, this is the new version of Gangsta Rap Made Me Do It, and that was off of Cube's Raw Footage album that dropped, I think it was 2008. But, you know, hip hop was kind of under attack, and it was that's where a lot of rappers were in court cases, different things like that. They were bringing up lyrics and what they said in their songs, and kind of attack on freedom of speech, and just different things going on, and a lot of legislation, as they have for decades, you know, blaming, literally, like the song says, Gangsta Rap Made Me Do It, as an alibi, you know, as something to stand on, as the reason why people are doing things wrong, or doing what they're doing out here in society. And you know, it's just kind of a continuation of that. Beats kind of similar. You know, Teak and D, Underdo from Lynch Mob, produced that track. Really kind of dope, haunting track. Hallway Productions, excuse me, was the name that I was looking for them. But probably one of my favorite tracks here on the project. Act by A's featuring Scarface, produced by the Mechanics. Dope track. Always good to hear Scarface. Scarface and Quake Matthews, who's actually on the It's My Ego remix, are the only guest appearances on this project. I had to pretty much go back to probably his early tracks to find little to no guest appearances, which, you know, Man Down had pretty much a who's who of West Coast artists as far as appearances. But another dope track. Ratchet Ass Mouth, really didn't get too much into that track. Kind of one of the weaker ones on the album to me. Respect My Space, another dope beat by Decades. California Dreamin', which samples Forget Me Nots by Patrice Rushen. Also was sampled by Will Smith on the Men in Black soundtrack, the title track. Real dope track. Kind of get that summertime vibe with it. And you know, just again, just talking about kind of with all the ills of society, you know, to how to enjoy life and dream big, and, you know, handle your issues and your problems in your life to have a better life. That Salt and Pepper, love the beat on this. Eric Sermon produced it. Super dope track. Bring Everybody, Policy Kings on that. And then, as I mentioned before, It's My Ego remix featuring Quake Matthews and Scarface. Ice Cube had a contest where artists could submit verses to be on the It's My Ego remix. This originally came out, it was just Cube and Scarface. They kept Scarface first verse. Cube did the second verse, and Quake Matthews absolutely murdered the third verse. And All Work No Play to close out the album, produced by Cash Clay Beats. It's got that really dope, like vintage 90s sound to it with the loop. But all in all, a solid album from Cube. It's kind of the same thing that I said before on the Man Down project. Lyrically, sometimes the flow and cadence with Cube, it kind of seems like he's trying to, you know, get the flow and get the cadence down, and sometimes it sounds very simplistic at times how he's rapping. But it's more cohesive to me than Man Down. But I think Man Down lyrically had more standout tracks, where Cube really, you know, Day in Paradise and Not Like Them, a few other tracks that a little bit more kind of have more lyrical dexterity from Ice Cube. But I like that this is a solid track, a solid album from front to back. The cohesiveness of the beats, I think the beats are better and a little more polished on Man Up than Man Down. Again, it's a very short album, track to track, nothing over 4 minutes, or even I think 3 minutes 45 seconds, nothing over that. So it's very quick, which I think Ice Cube has kind of adapted to you know, how music is consumed now. It's so fast, and there's really not long songs like there were before, posse cuts, different things like that. Q completely held it on his own, from front to back. And like I said, only had 2 guest appearances, but I really love the production. This production is really dope on this album. It kind of reminds me, I've said many times, and even on this YouTube channel, the War Disc is probably my favorite Ice Cube album. I'm not saying it's his best album, it's just my personal favorite album because of the production and just how it kind of almost, when you listen to it, almost plays out like a movie. Peace Disc was completely different, and Cube kind of went a different direction. I feel like with this, Man Down and Man Up, the direction, the lyrical direction that he wanted to go with these albums was a lot more cohesive and stuck to the plan than the War and Peace albums. And they also dropped back to back. He dropped Man Down last year, dropped Man Up this year. So if out of 5, I would give it a solid 3.5 out of 5. It's nothing on here is outstanding. There's nothing on here that, maybe a track where I absolutely just despise and I don't like, or I'm not big on. It's a very solid album, and really accompanies Man Down well with Man Up. Kind of, I can feel it and kind of see it with Cube. He's getting kind of those creative juices back, and is getting back into the lab more consistently. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another album from Ice Cube. You know, he even said it on his Man Down album. You know, he'd rap till he's 70 or rap till he's 90. You know, but I would like to see him kind of speak a little bit more in depth about, you know, social injustices and things that are going on in this country, because there's so much political and just social turmoil that's going on right now. That could be a whole nother review for something completely different. But it's a solid album. I urge everyone to check it out. If you've got, listen to it in a proper system. The mixing and mastering, Ice Cube did almost all of it. Urge people to go check out the Clinton Sands, aka Mr. Payback interview that's on Illuminati2G.com in our interview section. Spoke with him a lot about him working with Ice Cube over the years, and he even said that in the interview. You know, he's very hands-on with all of his music, whether it's the production, whether it's the lyrics. He's very organized and he's very on point. So it was super dope to see that. He's got a video with him on X. We'll post it on the site as well, where it shows a studio session with Scarface, and Scarface is super excited, you know, to have Ice Cube and to work with Ice Cube on the tracks that he worked with him on the album, and just how he looked at him as his idol. You know, I consider Scarface is in my top 5 greatest MCs dead or alive. So it was super dope, and a big surprise to see him, you know, on this project. You know, Scarface has kind of stepped away a little bit from music, and, you know, did a couple singles here and there, and he's been doing a lot more touring, but nothing really on the album or the music tip. So it's super dope to see, you know, Brad Jordan in the studio with Cube and the track that they did. Again, it's a super solid album. Like I said, a little lyrically, it's a little slow at times, and you don't really have the witty, you know, lyricist punchlines or anything like that that you have on previous Cube albums. But, you know, super solid. He definitely got his message and his point across. And I can tell he definitely, as fast as this album came out, he definitely took his time. But I like how he kept it short and sweet, track to track, and just the flow and the cohesiveness along with the production, you know, really stood out on this project. But again, the site, www.illuminati2g.com. You can also like, comment, and subscribe to us here on YouTube at I2G Hip Hop, letter I, number 2, letter G, Hip Hop, all one word. Much love to everybody that checked out our preview to Man Up, where we were talking about it that was literally a week ago, or a little over a week ago. Almost up to 2,000 views. So if you like that video, like, comment, and subscribe to this one as well. But D-Nice, I2G Radio, I2G Hip Hop as well, signing off. Get that new Man Up album by Ice Cube. I think you'll like it. Peace.